dropping in, we have Jawhead, Selena, and Natalia.
And the Natalia is, of course, something that's a little bit of an ONIC special. ONIC has used to, at least. They really used to really like this on Jay, but now he's going to be the one to be removed. Imagine that. So, again, Jay might start relegating back into the tank role. The Natalias that they've been trying to push into the previous season didn't really work out well for them. So maybe that's something they're going to have to look out for in this coming matchup, how well you can actually work with that.
Yes, and of course, the first ban coming in from ONIC Indonesia, Jawhead and Benedetta. You wanted to expect more of these Jawhead bans because mostly Jawhead controls the early game. It controls how well that you wanted to, in terms of pickoffs with the ejector, one of the same type of a somehow healed type of approach that you wanted to gain knowledge, you wanted to rotate around and put a lot of pressure to those buffs, and you can go for a reset. It gives a lot of time for the opposing team to once again have their time to or their time being consumed with the buff intake.
Now the newest ban for ONIC Esports is, of course, the newest heroes as well. That Benedetta as well as the Brody. Again, if it starts with B, it's usually really strong, especially right now with Benedetta, Brody, and the Barretts really shaping up the meta. And I really think that's a big possible first pick here for ONIC Esports. Big difference maker there. Especially what we've seen in the previous games already. It's proven very effective. Now this Harif first pick is something that I'm not sure how well it's going to go. Of course, Hated has a long history with this. He has a very strong Harif game. But is this really first pick material?
Yes, and really agree to Rockhart as Harith, yes. It's one of those big heroes that you wanted to expect to hate, but then again, you have an open Kufra, you have an open, you have those openings from Ling, Esmeralda, and the first pick Harith. Mostly, I see Harith as a last pick or the 5th slot.
Yep, and that's something that's really bugging my mind right now. First pick Harif. It's probably going to be a double core setup here for ONIC PH with the possibility of a jungler coming in. We've heard a lot of talks from ONIC, from the rumor mill that junglers are going to be a big deal. We did see an example of that in the previous matchup. Wonder if it's going to happen here as well.
Yeah, we've seen Ronin really take advantage of the jungler type of rotations and team composition, but this time around, they are going to lock the Lapu Lapu and Cho.
D-Lar again playing up on the Lapu Lapu is something that's very interesting because again, small changes being done to this hero just made it so well. Plays so well right now in the offlane. We've seen a few games of this already, and a Valier is something that can kind of work against all current free picks for ONIC PH. It works against the Harif, also works well against Lapu Lapu and even the Cho. But again, this is something that can be easily dealt with if ever they can find a very good long-range hero. We'll have to wait and see what that is, because right now, ONIC Esports' lineup, super strong. Picking up the Esmeralda already ensures that you kind of negate any big Uranus play, which is very dominant in the Philippines meta. And it also kind of makes you makes a lane very difficult to deal with for Lapu Lapu.
Yeah, in terms of early game, you can take advantage of this Esmeralda and the silence being stalled by this hero. And I'm also loving the Valier pick. A really good peel, one of those heroes that you can safely, or you can keep everyone safe with your Searing Torrents. You can have the pokes, you have the damage, and this Valier pick, I must say, this is one of those worthy pick that ONIC Esports have.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the Valier kind of works well. Even if they pick, if ONIC PH picks another tank, it's most likely going to work well against that at the same time. So they have a lot of control around the mid lane with this hero. And something that's being banned out is the Valier, the Hayabusa. that's something that I didn't really expect coming
Yeah.
into this one, which is again kind of looking or kind of reading into that ban of the jungle. You want to stop any big jungler heroes from coming out strong if you're fighting off against ONIC PH, and apparently that is something that's looking like it's the case.
Yes, in terms of jungling, Hayabusa is one of those heroes that can maximize the jungle itself. You have a double buff. You are highly mobile. You can also have head-on duels in contesting all the objective, and denying that is really strong. While on the other side, that's gonna be ONIC PH removing Hilda. So you kind of have that. You don't want how annoying Hilda can be, how frontliner, how he's controlling the brush, how he's controlling the vision.
Very true. Hilda's very difficult to deal with, but can they actually work well with a double core setup? That's what I'm thinking for ONIC Esports Indonesia. Because I really see that the double core setup is something that has worked very, very well for a lot of the teams ever since we started post Project Next patch.
Yeah.
A lot of the laners are starting to just really absorb the gold. And what's a good guy to absorb the gold? That is, of course, the carry. And
Yeah.
sometimes you want to have two carries so that you can maximize the gold around the map. That's something we'll have to wait and see. Helkurt and the Akai coming in for
Ooh.
ONIC PH. And this is something that I'm really looking at here. We have seen ONIC PH play the jungler Helkurt a lot. And when I say a lot, they've worked well with
Yeah.
it. They have a lot of win rate. They have a good win rate with this. Now, they've also pulled this off in the in MPL Philippines, which we have seen. So, right now, on the other side of the map, Sylvana is something that you don't expect this. So I don't know if that's gonna work well. We'll have to wait and see.
So we are looking into unexpected picks right here for both of ONIC teams and Sylvanas, as well as the Helkurt. Both sides, they're going to prove a lot in terms of their own game, of their own spices, of their own flavor towards this battle. And the Helkurt is something that I want to highlight because it can easily pick off the Valir, but then Valir, good amount of pick off, but the silence will be a big nuisance for their side. While Sylvanas, someone who can lock down, someone who can survive, a fighter that has a good sustain and also decent damage, can stay longer with these big team fights.
Let's find out if these young bloods from ONIC PH is gonna be strong enough to deal with the veteran status of ONIC Esports from Indonesia. Who do you think is gonna win? Let us know in the comments as we get into the game for Game 1 of the best of 3 between ONIC Esports and ONIC PH.
And hated. Oh, it's gonna be hated. So a bit of a change name right there. And Yaknu will be playing onto the top side. Well, Blitz in the bottom with the Lar. And this Lapu Lapu will have a bit of those skirmish early on.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Esmeralda in the early game definitely is something you don't want to fight off against a Lapu Lapu. And he's going to have to play that lane very, very passively. Dilar also got banned out with his fam, so that's one option that was a little bit weird to get banned out in the second rotation. We'll have to wait and see. As we are seeing that ONIC is just basically giving over the purple buff to this Helkurt.
Yes, as Yaknu is running low against this 1-1. The aggression is there, and they can easily take advantage of this lane. There's no aggressive rotations yet, and as how well the Kyrie and San just working on their way with their own buff, with their own jungle. No one's really pulling the trigger on denying any of the jungle rotations.
Yep, and the jungle is something that you gotta watch out for, right? This is a Helkurt with the Retribution. There's gonna be a lot of early level 4s coming in for this Helkurt. A lot of early level 4 ultimates. But top lane is gonna be the focus here for ONIC Indonesia.
And they are going in. Tempest of Blades will be dropped, but Sans, Jay for the backup. Rasi and Sasa, just a 3-man here, wanted to take the crab coin easily. And easy gold for that Ling.
Yep. And again, the Ling is something you don't need to focus too much on this Ling. I think the one that we need to watch out for will be definitely this Wan. How well can Sasa play? Sasa, again, something that any hero you give this guy, it just works so well, right? And one of the most veteran players in this game for sure so far.
Ooh.
Getting a lot. There you go.
Bit of debate out, but Liaknu is having a hard time denying this 1-1 with all of those farm. ONIC PH needs some good amount of attention here just to make sure that they can deny that 1-1. But right now, rotations from Jay and Kyrie, they just wanted to take the crab coin for themselves.
That's right. And this crab coin is going to be very useful, obviously. And the goal lead is something that I have to look out for. 300 goal at this point is actually not bad for ONIC PH. Indonesia definitely going to be ahead, though. And Jay, hello there.
Will be captured, and that's going to be the first blood in the hands of ONIC ID.
So that's something that we've seen before. We've seen Drian and Sasa face off against Jay way back in MSC. They have faced off against each other before, and obviously they were still going to be the dominant performers there. And I think Indonesia is also the dominant performer here right now. But we'll have to wait and see if that's going to change, as we do see ONIC PH having a very strong engagement around the Zaman Force of Hated.
And they are going to take the turtle as well, but onto the backup. Here comes Jay with that Hurricane Dance, catching the back line. Sasa running low, but proccing more of the shields, but that's going to be the Cho taking down even more with Tempest of Blades coming in from Sans. But is there any chance that she can take down someone? But that's going to be more kills as a 3-2 into our current scoreboard.
What a hot battle, and you see ONIC PH turning the tides, getting the goal lead right away from ONIC Indonesia. We'll have to wait and see what happened there on the replay.
And you can clearly see as how well they wanted to focus. But Sans, this Link, doesn't have any items yet to be bold enough. Hated, Delar, and Jay was able to put him down, and good eyes onto that Ling.
Yep, that Ling is something that you are. Again, I said it earlier, we can't focus on that right away because the power levels of this hero is just not quite there yet. So we were looking at Sasa. He was also kind of taken by surprise. Very aggressive maneuver there for ONIC PH. With Hated just having a great time on the Zaman Force. It was perfectly placed in that regard.
Yeah, Hated was able to dish a lot of damage. It was a free cast all around. And Delar, he was able to box out the backline. ONIC ID think twice in terms of engaging as far as they are concerned. But Razzie right now, Zaman Force 1 is again being trolled. 4-man, ONIC PH is going in. Sasa and Drian wasn't really able to do something about that, as another kill coming in to our scoreboard for ONIC PH.
Yep, and ONIC PH looking really good so far in the early game. 5 minutes into the game, they are ahead in almost 1,000, while ONIC Indonesia, right now on the bottom lane, will be taking a turret for themselves, almost evening it up.
Yes, but ONIC PH wasn't really able to answer that. No defense. And the top side wasn't really something that they wanted to exchange. So Turtle, this is one of the objectives that you wanted to consider for the take.
You have to ask yourself, how well is this Hellcurt actually working out well for ONIC PH? Delar, though, making a statement saying, I can take this lane, I'm going to get a kill. And he does. Turtle is now going to be the next one for ONIC PH. Will they get it, though?
The damage is there, but the Turtle is being focused. Tempest of Blades once again. Sans was able to take down Jay and looking for more. Kyrie a bit of low right here. Delar and Liaknu for the backup, but Razzie with that spiral spear wasn't really able to kill anyone, but then fend them off as Jay and Kyrie will be taken out by ONIC ID.
Very impressive there from Sans. Under pressure with 3 people from ONIC PH taking out the Turtle. You know what he said? I'm going to take this for myself. Going for Finch Poise makes him basically impossible to crowd control with the current heroes of ONIC PH. A lot of the ONIC PH stuns are close range. This 1,000-pounder, this Way of the Dragon, so there was no way they were going to catch Sans right there. And Sans, he took advantage.
Yeah, the Tempest of Blades really catching 2-man in person, and it was a free sword all around that reaches more damage. So as Ling, you wanted to pick up all of those to prop even more damage that's needed to take Jay out and Kyrie?
Yeah, that was a big question mark here for ONIC PH. Very questionable, but we'll have to wait and see. They'll be able to come back from that. Of course, the turtle buff going into Sands on that Ling is just big. It just turns the tide. And when you're a Ling, you always want to have this turtle buff on you. That's exactly what they have now. How can they take advantage, though, in ONIC? Can they still make use of the Hellcurt? We'll have to wait and see, because that's something you can do. You can use the Hellcurt to deny the movements of the Ling with Dark Knight Falls. And I think they're doing that right now on the bottom lane as well.
But the Lord will be visited by Sands and Rassi into the back line. Jay will be present. Just wanted to sneak around to make sure that they are safe. But then again, towers might be going down from top and middle as 4-man from ONIC ID will converge here. Hated. Zaman Force popping it off. Drian and Sasa, too much damage there. Catching in. Jay with the Hurricane Dance puts him into the wall. But the damage isn't enough to really take down someone, and that's Imperial Justice as they are going to take another life at ONIC PH.
Very nice try from Jay there. He wanted to go and get Rossi behind the dead turret. But again, there was just too many threats. Kyrie going in for the Dark Knight Falls. It won't happen, though.
That was bad for Kyrie. That's a bit of too much for the turtle that they wanted to go in.
Counterplay.
The Zaman Force again. Delar will be surviving with more shields. Rian free casting all around. Searing Torrent, Sasa, and Sands following up with more damage. Hurricane Dance blocking Sands into the wall, pushing everyone out, and that's going to be ONIC ID will disengage as ONIC PH will take the life of Razzie and Butts.
They've got a lot of crowd control. We're just lacking on the damage right now, or maybe the decision to go for the damage output. But that's not going to be the case there. Taking out Sasa in one fell swoop. Going to be traded right there by Sands, though. I guess that's not bad. So far, ONIC Indonesia still ahead in the goal.
Good play with that Jit Kendo and the finisher. But then they got Liakno as well. Bit of a good of a trade, but then ONIC ID is still the ones who's being aggressive with that Ling pick.
Again, on the replay, you'll see that the turtle was still the big objective for Sands. There was no way they were going to out-smite or out-retribution this guy. D-Lord, though, great ultimate and the re-engage. I was so hopeful for this one that there was something that's going to happen. But still, ONIC Indonesia is just so ahead right now in terms of map control here.
Yes.
Not even in the items, not even in the gold. Just look at how they are controlling the map. Even with Sasa 1-2-2 on the Wan, they're still ahead.
Yeah, you have the Ling that's controlling the early game. You have also Jian that's free casting all around, doing the job as someone who wants to push away anyone who wants to be aggressive towards this Wan. He has not a big of a numbers or scores yet, but the gold is in favor for ONIC ID as Jay will be caught out once again. Needs to use the Hurricane Dance just to save himself. And ONIC ID, they are inside the jungle. They are gaining the information that they wanted to and forcing out ONIC PH to use their resources.
Now, what is ONIC PH going to do? Kyrie, he can't really step out too much because he is 0, 3, and 4. Will they be able to contest this Lord? That is what we're looking for here. Jay, he is trying to see if he can get some targets here with that Hurricane Dance, and it will not be effective. D-Lord, though, getting to take out Sasa once more.
And here comes Jay being left into the fight. Hated, looking for Gian.
Nice.
Liakno as well, but Butts into the back line, still looking for more. Jay with the Hurricane Dance, locking in this Esmeralda, and this might be it. Falling Storm will be used. Zaman Force, way up the dragon, way into the hell, and that's going to be the kill that they need. But Sans onto the split bus. That's going to be Kyrie. He's going to go head-to-head with Sans, but Sans is a bit slippery and quick. He's going to escape.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The moment Sands goes up and Finch poisons, it's so difficult for ONIC PH to actually reach him. But you did see Yaknu. He can make some plays when given the chance. He got a huge kill under the tower for that one. And they will get the Lord for this one. 11 minutes and 43 seconds into the game.
Yes, and ONIC PH might be losing a lot of their towers, but then again, ONIC ID playing into their own favors. Once they knew that they are going to lose the battle, Sans pull the trigger on taking the mid lane instead of joining or looking for more kills.
Yep, more kills is definitely something that they're always looking for, but the problem is, again, ONIC, they're just not giving it up. As a utility, Kyrie is doing very well on the hell curve. As the main carry, that's going to be DLR for sure, as well as Hated, 7-0-4 on this Harith.
Yes, we are questioning this first pick Harith, but then he's really showing that he's really good in using this hero, convincingly throwing all of those 7-4s at every clash he stayed in, taking all the kills, staying even more and looking for the rightful targets to push ONIC ID out of their way.
Yep, and ONIC Indonesia just trying to take it slow on the defense. They're waiting it out on the Lord, on the top lane. Meanwhile, of course, see a big engagement onto that Lord with no one left to defend it. Means that it is not going to do as much damage as it should, but that did enough to sway the gold in favor of ONIC PH.
Yes, and with that gold advantage, they need to itemize really wise just to make sure that they can take head-on ONIC ID. And they're going to successfully take the bottom tower. That's something that you need to... Oh, Rossi being pushed into the wall. Kyrie proccing the darkness. And this will be a Zaman Force again from Hated, as Dilar will be on a good side as ONIC ID will completely disengage.
Beautiful Dark Knight falls there just for the utility. He didn't even need to hit anyone. Making sure they can blind the enemy is already doing enough. But as I said, DLR versus the Esmeralda, that's a difficult fight to take. Ultimately going to be used up just to scare them away. Kind of gives a leeway at least to ONIC PH.
Indeed, the bravest fighter as he overextended. And even though that they lost the Lord earlier, they still able to take more of their gold back into their own favor, taking the tower onto the bottom. But then again, there's still the last second tower into the mid lane, and after they're going to take that, it will open up the whole map or the whole jungle of ONIC ID in for their own taking.
So apparently we have two big utility players for either team. For ONIC PH, that's Kyrie on the Hellcurt, and for ONIC Indonesia, of course, that's Rossi on that Sylvana. Now he also has that Winter Truncheon. How well will that save them? And how well will that add to the damage output of this already scary Sylvana? Kyrie has a lot to catch up on, but I think he is on the way. He is doing pretty good in getting at least not dying anymore, at least, right, on the Hellcurt. So that's at least something for ONIC PH on the jungler side.
Is there any chance that Liaknu might want to go for Sands? A bit of a bait right there as four members of ONIC ID might be converging to Liaknu 18 seconds before the Lord. They wanted to take down someone for a 4 versus 5. Goes for the flicker. Liaknu is in a bad spot as he might be going down. Immortality will be procced also.
Oh my gosh.
But just want to make sure that he isn't going anywhere, and this might be ONIC ID to go head-to-head with the Lord, or they wanted to go for the push.
That's just pretty big. And that is a huge loss there for ONIC PH, losing Iaknu. He also just they basically also just removed the immortality onto that guy, and now they could go for the Lord if they wanted to. Indonesia can really get a lot of control here in this one big swoop.
Yes, and that's the advantage of ONIC ID right now, a 4 versus 5. But then they wanted to make sure that they can still take head-on as ONIC PH is slowly moving. Jay not catching anyone out, but two-man Hurricane Dance, but Sands is still there, popping off into the darkness as Kyrie is looking for the targets, but Hated is doing all the work with all those Zaman Force being dropped. He might be being caught out as well. Synchro-efficient. Here comes the backup. Rozzy running low. Got the immortality, but Leok
They
is
got him.
going to back. That's going to be more vengeance. He wanted to revenge. And that's the Zaman Force again from Hated. Looking for
Look at this
bigger
guy.
targets. And here comes the Lord for ONIC PH.
ONIC PH really recovering very well from that big engagement from ONIC Indonesia. They almost got the Lord, but they were able to deny just in time, fighting 4v5 to make sure that they don't lose right away.
Oh, Tempest of Blades once again being used by Sands. He's a bit of a low life right there. But Butts wanted to go in, wants to go for a head-to-head battle, but Jay with the Hurricane Dance locking up Butts. He might be the one who's tanky enough, but Jay and Hated for the backup. G on Sasa. Sands is there to take down Hate.
And the shutdown onto Hated. Just bit off a little bit more than they could chew. And that was one of the longest engagements I've seen with that Harif. And wow, that was just a lot of happenings there all of a sudden.
Yeah, with one Lord, they are losing left and right with the exchange. But right now, Delar wanted to go for a Bravest Fighter steal right here. Retribution for Kyrie any moment right now that they wanted to out Retribution ONIC ID, but they're going to let it go as Jay will be discovered. Sasa, Drian, and Rossi will go for a big chase. Hurricane Dance isn't going to save himself, and another kill from ONIC ID.
It's just so difficult to move with a Valier. This is what I'm talking about even before the match started. Drian's not doing a majority of the kills, but he is definitely doing a lot of hurt into the melee heroes, in the short-range heroes of ONIC PH. And ONIC Indonesia, now they have the Lord. They can start walking up on the mid.
Yes, and as the Lord marching into the mid lane, accompanied by the ID squad. 4 members just wanted to make sure that they can still go for a split. As Sands is opening the bottom side, damage is there. It will be enough to open the doors, and even the top side being focused as the Lord will be marching into the base itself. Here comes the Zaman Force being used by Hated to clear the wave. Tempest of Blades for survivability, and he is going to save or bail out quickly.
Yeah, very quick bailout there. ONIC Indonesia, they don't need to go for the kill right away. They can just wait for the big turrets to get taken out, and that's exactly what they're doing. Inhibitor turrets for ONIC PH are now down. It's going to make their defense even a lot harder.
Yes, it was a good call coming in from ONIC ID. They wanted to make sure that no one's going to pick off Sands. They wanted to focus the Cho. Liakno, he was down, started the ONIC ID started the Lord 9 seconds before the respawn time for Cho, but then again another fight erupts. Really good searing torrents to push everyone out. Rossi in the middle of the fight even, but both tanky fighters, would they want to go in? Jay running low, here's the Hurricane Dance. Sands looking for more damage as Iyakno is running down low as well. Delar, the Lapu-Lapu isn't going enough to fend everyone off as ONIC ID is marching inside the base.
Possibly the last team fight here, ONIC PH. They're looking, trying to defend, trying to clear the minion waves, but Hated, he wants to go for the back line, wants to go for the kill.
Hated.
He takes out the Ling. Can they get more though?
And here comes Kyrie, wanted to save the game. Hated being focused down. Delar running low also, but Kyrie is healthy. He wanted to go for more damage as Sasa being focused, but they are focusing the base. Sasa with all the work, and Kyrie isn't enough for ONIC PH to save themselves. ONIC IDs taking game 1.
What a nail biter of a game there between ONIC PH and ONIC Indonesia. They're really, really strong in closing, and they were very decisive. The moment that they took out those inhibitor turrets, it's like they already had the plan in their minds.
Yes, good play for ONIC ID. At the moment that they are taking down the Cho, it was go time for them. They took advantage of the 4 versus 5, the respawn timers, and the back and forth battle into the Lord. A bit Routh and Alice, more tanks coming in, plus the damage to mid and late game.
Single core setup, that is something that we are seeing right now for both of our teams. We're back on a pretty old meta Although some really odd picks are coming in, like a Lunox, which I think Lunox and Chang'e, that's a lot of magic damage. That's a lot of magic damage they have to deal with. And obviously, one of these mages are going to go on the off lane, either for experience lane on, or actually they can try to go for both. So we'll have to wait and see whether or not that's going to work out for ONIC Esports Indonesia, as we are loading up into the match. Currently 1-0 in favor of Indonesia. Will ONIC PH be able to climb back? We'll have to find out as we load into the map.
And this will be game 2 for the franchise battle. ONIC PH going up against ONIC ID.
Franchise battle indeed. It works very well because, again, this is a big comparison. Who's the better ONIC? That's what we're asking here in this matchup. And again, Sasa is back on the off lane with this Lunox this time. I was thinking maybe you could throw the Chang'e on the off lane, but apparently it is going to be the Lunox play. So, yeah, we're going to see a bit of an aggressive take here. Will this work?
And just Jay, who wanted to go for those jungle invades, go for a bit of those information plays, goes back to the brush. You have the shields. Liaknu is going to throw Flowing Blood and doesn't really want it to go in. As for the early game, wanted to focus more into the farm.
Yeah, focus on that farm. And just basically Jay going in for vision it works very well already for their side. Yaknu though on the Alice is something that we've seen previously to work very, very well. And I think we've seen him really perform some miracles, literal miracles on this hero in the local MPL for the Philippines. I'll have to see if we can actually pull it off here because, again, it's so difficult to fight against ONIC Indonesia in the mechanical battle.
Yes, and Razzie is the one who's going to throw an ejector against Hated. They're not going to chase, but Jay, with a good amount of damage, Hated will be going down in the hands of the Chang'e.
Very beautifully done there for these players in the mid lane. I think Sans, even just on level 4, is already just super good. He rotated very well on that Lancelot, going through and trying to catch where Hated was going to go to. Because he knows that Hated is going to play this very aggressively.
Yeah.
He can tell that Hated is just going to go anywhere there's enemies. So I think he used that to his advantage in that exchange.
Yeah, and we've talked about this, that Hated can push away the Jawhead itself. But then again, with the good timing, the ejector, and with that early game presence, Razi was able to push Hated or throw Hated into their own heroes or base.
And the follow-up on that kill, a bot lane kill again for ONIC Indonesia, gonna be taken out. Yaknu again. Yaknu is just trying to catch up here. He's not at that point where he has items because the Alice just only comes out when he has like 2 to 3 items. At this point, you can't expect the Alice to fight. You can only expect it to clear up minion waves, which is exactly what he's doing right now. So that kind of lowers the power, the fighting power of ONIC PH in terms of the skirmish.
Yes, and they're just maximizing their Jawhead. And Razzie just looking for those key targets that he can throw out. Good timing. This will be a turtle, and they are going in and going hot. Even the Nature Assault being used and Tempest of Blades, but Butts inside the battle wasn't able to survive entirely.
Sans!
More damage coming in. Sans a bit too much, and Jay is going to survive.
That was a very aggressive move there, but they were able to come out on top still by forcing ONIC PH to fight in very unfavorable conditions. Now it's going to be basically a free turtle there for Indonesia. Sans once more on a carry, on a very strong assassin. Also triple buff.
Oh, Jay.
That's a lot of damage done.
Yes, and we can expect this more from Sans. He was really impeccable in terms of playing against or playing with that Ling. More damage coming in as he wanted to take down the Liaknu. Sasa and Sans. The Sans combo is into the bottom side. Jay for the backup, just pushing them away. more breathing space for Liaknu.
And Yaknu is going to be one of the guys you gotta watch out for still. I mean, right now he doesn't have items, but the moment that he does hit those spikes, maybe it'll be a bit more of a favorable matchup for Philippines, but right now Indonesia definitely still ahead.
Jay once again being caught out, but the mutual result from Rian is going to cook up Hated. More damage coming in. Wild charge by Razzie is going to survive, but then again, they're going to defend this mid lane tower. Tempest of Blades to survive, but onto the top side, Butts was able to trade off Yaknu.
And this is what I'm talking. This is what I'm talking about. It's always going to be a toss-up to whether or not who's going to be the carry, right? It's either Hated or Kyrie. This time around, Kyrie is on the Ling, and what's happening here right now is both of them are having such a bad time in the fights.
Yes, and those are mostly the kills. With this Thams, it's already 2-1-2. So they are really making good use of this guy. And even though Liaknu already swapped lanes with Delar, he is still dying.
ONIC Indonesia, head by 3,000. Jay's in trouble. No one left to answer. Another free kill for Indonesia right away.
And not just a free kill, this also opens up a free turtle. And that's the reason why you wanted to ban out this Jawhead against Razzie. And then again, this Valir isn't being maximized out to peel for anyone who's being thrown down. The follow-up from ONIC ID is really solid, and they're going to take down Delar.
And it's becoming so much more difficult for ONIC Philippines to survive in this one. I think it'll take a pretty big effort from the offlaners to make sure they control this. Because right now, the mid laners are having a hard time. Even with Jay on the Hilda, they're being pushed back. They're being hunted down one by one. And it's not working well for them.
Yes, and even though they are aggressive enough just to have those information, it was ONIC IDs who maximizing, and that's going to be Tempest of Blades coming in from Kyrie. Flowing blood into the middle of the fight. Blood owed just to make sure that he can sustain and he can survive, but the damage is there. Gian is looking for more. This Chango putting a lot of damage again and again. Liaknu looking for more targets, flowing blood, and he's going to sustain double kill, but then again, Sasa is going to return the favor.
In the end, it's a free for free, and I think that's the best that ONIC PH can hope for on that top lane. I think they just kind of bit off a bit more than they could chew. They tried to go for a hard engage, but the counter engage from Indonesia was just too hot to handle. And fortunately, Yaknu was there. He picked up a few kills. At least he got some gold back. And so far, it was just an even trade. We're still at a 5,000 gold advantage in favor of Indonesia.
And you can clearly see here that ONIC ID wanted to be more aggressive, but Yaknu with that Alice showed a lot of potentials of being one of the off-tank that you wanted to consider into moving mid to late game.
Yeah, and of course, the late game, who's going to be in favor of the late game? It's going to be the team that has the most carries. And that's starting to look like it's going to be for ONIC VH, right? So
yes.
Right now, if they can make sure that Yu Zhong can beef up, if this Alice can beef up, and especially the Ling, it's going to be a different story.
Oh, steal! Really good steal. Black Dragon form to Delar. But this might be a quick burst, taking down Kyrie. Good Tempest of Blades to jump out, but Delar will pay the price. Sasa, Yaknu, right there, as Sans will be battling out as well, but that Alice will be popped off into a snap.
And again, it's just so difficult. If your Alice goes down, if your Yu Zhong goes down, ONIC Philippines will have very few options to hold the lane together. And what happens when your laners are dead?
Yeah.
The enemy is going to take advantage. That's what's happening right now as well.
And they're just maximizing all those rotations. And after that turtle play, there's a big question. They hard engage. I was expecting that after Kyrie stealing that turtle, they can just run away. But
Yep.
Sans,
Sans is taking a lot of the jungle
Whoa!
of the Philippines right now, though. The re-engage by Kyrie, by Jay. Still going hard onto the jawhead, but damage from Drian is just a little bit too
Ejector.
much.
Ejector being thrown down against Jay, but the Lar will be for the backup. That's the Black
Drian.
Dragon form. Liakno with more of those damage, zoning everyone out. The Lar with a good jump right there, but Razzie for the re-engage. Sans will join the fight, but the double kill coming in from Kyrie and the Lar. And the Lar is running low. Liakno with the backup. With the backline, Assas is going down, Flowblood, and that's a Maniac coming in from Kyrie.
Kyrie, he is back in this one. I think in that engagement, you gotta commend ONIC PH. They really knew the weaknesses of the ONIC Indonesia lineup after being beaten senseless by Drian in the early game. They knew that they had to hunt this guy down, and they could do better, and that is exactly what happened. We saw Drian go down right away. We saw Sans, he went a little nuts. He spammed his skills too early, and ONIC PH took advantage.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really dodge most of the skills coming in from ONIC PH. And Sans, not a bit careless play right there.
Just like that, we're back on even in terms of the goal score. With ONIC PH now trying to push ONIC Indonesia against the ropes.
ONIC ID, they need to go back into their own composition. They need to compose themselves. They need to look for those picks. Can go for those ejector play instead of going ham against Kyrie. They are not successful in taking him down again and again. They need to wait up for Sans to have those early or those bursts with the early items that he needs to secure.
Yep, and securing the early items is something that has, you know, as a 1-1-4 Lance, doesn't feel like he has a lot of items, but you gotta remember, he was triple buffed for a long time, so he probably has a lot of that already locked in. And now even Butz is catching up in terms of items. Endless Battle already locked in for this FAMS, means he should be pretty comfortable in terms of where he is in itemization.
Oh, they know Peter Assault is on cooldown as they are converging into the Lord. Kyrie needs to move up to clear this wave. And they're going to start this Lord Dilar. Going to go for a reset. They don't have information.
Yeah, it's probably a bad idea to just try it right away. Especially knowing that ONIC Indonesia is definitely somewhere out there. I don't even know if they can feel that they're ahead, but I'm sure they can. They can flex on the J, and they can get a lot of information with the help of J on the Hilda.
Yeah, and Butts just wanted to go head-to-head against Eok. The wild charge, coast to coast. Kyrie is going to be safe. No ejector right there. And good play for Kyrie to survive. If ever that he's going to die, that's a free Lord for ONIC ID.
And I'm pretty sure they're going to have a lot more of firepower here on the bot lane because of that. But they want to go for a fight again, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Oh, make sure Result pop off. Here comes the Black Dragon form. Dilar moving in up against in front of Razzie. Sans trying to destroy Dilar, but isn't enough. No damage. Butts will be the one who's going to carry more of those damage. Going to take down Dilar. And this is a 4 versus 5.
Yeah, I think Dilar kind of overestimated the power of the Yuzhong. And he also hit execute on a different target. I think he was about to hit execute on Sasa, but someone else caught the execute damage instead. They got closer. That's why it's shifted the targeting. So because of that, we are still on a stalemate in terms of gold and in terms of the map.
Yes, they don't want to carelessly going in as they are respecting the damage of Kyrie this time. And they need to look for those better pickoffs. Not entirely as Dilar that can someone zone them up. They can go for hated or focus on Kyrie itself. I mean, that's the goal, but then he's slippery.
Yeah, Kyrie's on 13.5k gold. That's That is huge, and I think that's something that ONIC is definitely going to be able to utilize in this Lord. They're going to be able to use the power levels of Kyrie just to scare off ONIC Indonesia. And I think that's working.
And they are also a bit of lackluster in terms of using the Meteor Assault. But right now, they are starting to focus even more as Liakno is burning up. Needs the flowing blood away. Butts running low. Kyrie wants to go in. Tempest of Blades catching one. And actually, that's two. Razzie and Butts going down. Liakno with more of those sustain. Jay with the damage. The Lar and Hated wanted to go in even more. Or is it going to be a complete disengage?
The early game lead of ONIC Indonesia's lineup is definitely starting to fade. Drian not hurting as much as he did compared to the first 10 minutes of the game. You're looking like ONIC Philippines. They want to go for that Lord right away. And there's very little that ONIC Indonesia can do to stop that.
Ling wins games, and it has been ONIC PH into the pedal, hitting the metal, as ONIC ID needs to answer this. Sands with that Lancelot isn't really effective right now.
Yeah, and they're really starting to wonder what is going to be the game plan here for Indonesia. So far, they are behind by 3,000 gold. And that's saying something, considering ONIC Indonesia has been ahead for a long time in this game.
Right now, Jay, this will be the Lord marching into the mid lane as Kyrie will be starting things off into the bottom side. Even the top lane is being pushed down. They're going to enter the base. Kyrie, a bit of too much right there, but running low. The Lord is still there. They wanted to focus this. The Lord with the Black Dragon form to go in, but flowing blood of Liakno not entirely jumping into the fight.
Yep, top lane is going to be the next target here. Will they try to go for it? It's very unlikely. And Sands, his power level is starting to really drop here.
Oh, Hated! He might be pop off, but Razzie will be the one who's being damaged a lot. As Sasa, this Lunox isn't really also putting a lot of damage.
I would say that's a great defense for Indonesia. They were able to stop the inhibitor turret from the top lane from getting destroyed, and that is a big win if you're Indonesia right now, who are behind by 5,000 gold. And Philippines, basically they have to wait for another Lord, because right now, even though Indonesia is behind, they do have a lot of wave clear. So they can defend for a long time here.
Yes, and a one-team fight also can dictate the whole game. So they need to be more cautious, as still they have Razzie, can hostage or isolate someone, but Kyrie is there. 5 members of ONIC PH looking to open the top tower. More damage. They wanted to go in, but into the middle of the fight, but onto the back line. That's going to be Liakno. Flowing blood's out. Sands wants to go for a cleanup. Janitorial duties. And he's going for a big chase, but he wanted to be more cautious as Jay is right there, and Kyrie is around too.
And this is exactly why you pick up the Alice. I mean, even in the early game, you're going to get, even if you get beaten down so badly in the early game, as long as you get those items like the Winter Truncheon, the Lightning Truncheon, get that Holy Crystal, you already have a lot of damage and you already have a lot of survivability. And now this Alice is starting to get into item lock territory.
Yes, and Liakno is really maximizing this pick. Whenever he wants to jump in, they are surely to take down someone with them. So Liakno, yes, he might be losing the early game, but this Alice is really showing up into the late game.
Yep. And the Alice is something you're going to watch out for, but it's not going to be difficult to watch out for because, again, the flowing blood is just going to fly everywhere. Sometimes you won't notice it, and then suddenly you have an Alice in your face.
Yeah,
right?
The flowing blood
yeah,
is
let's see if that's going to be something that ONIC Indonesia can handle. But for now, again, we are steady in terms of gold. It hasn't changed for a long time now. We're still on the 5,000 gold lead for Philippines. And they're probably just waiting on this Lord.
Yeah, on game 1, it was ONIC ID who's keeping everyone checked and intact. But right now, they are missing a lot of those catch potentials. They are missing Liaknu's flowing blood. It's the Blood Ode. So they're losing a lot of those team fights. They are being out-sustained. ONIC PH, they can stay with the prolonged team fight with that Zong. And Hated is being safe into the backline, casting even more of those Searing Torrents and more of those Fireballs.
And again, Hated is starting to fall in terms of, in efficiency, but Kyrie is still on the road up, right? He is just doing very well right now, fighting on top lane against Boots as well with Iaknu. That's a free v1. That's a very, very dead Fab.
Oh, Boots is going down as Jay being fried up. Drion is going to stop for a bit. They don't want to overcommit and wants to focus more into the Lord.
That's a 4v5. That's a big opening for ONIC Philippines. Can they make stuff happen here with almost a 7,000 gold lead? Rossi's the only one who's checking this place out, and he doesn't like what he sees. He's seeing 4 ONIC PH members, now 5.
Kyrie is there. Rossi onto the back of the Lord. More missiles popping off. They won this. 16 seconds before Boots to respawn. Pushing away. Mutual Assault. Is there any chance that they can take it? But that's going to be Kyrie taking the Lord. And Sasa will be the next casualty. Rossi is running for his life. They're not entirely jumping in. But Liakno wants to go ahead and take down Gian.
And that should be a pretty strong case for an attack. It's well done by ONIC Philippines. Can they close this though? Find out.
Ejector once again. Wild charge. Liakno. The sustain is there, but wasn't really able to finish anyone out. Rossi being Searing Torrented out. But this will be a tower into the hands of ONIC PH. Lord marching into the middle. Here comes Dilar for the backup. He wants to push everyone out as the Lord is focusing the base itself, and everyone is looking to take down ONIC ID. And ONIC PH will take this game to game 3.
We got a game 3, ladies and gents. ONIC Philippines showing that for Philippines, and I'm pretty sure the ONIC Indonesia did not expect that as well. But the Gushin will be coming out here. I like it. I like it. It's a pretty good one, I would say.
I'm not sure about this, but this is a Hayabusa, Gushin, and a Brody. And the Cho also can actually be an assassin. So, let's see. I mean, we're really excited. This is really different, and that explains a lot with all of the bans coming in from ONIC PH, of Hermes, and of Hani. Weird bans, but then again, look at this lineup of ONIC Indonesia. They are playing with a 3 damager, and you have 2 assassins, Hayabusa and the Gushan.
Here we go, Gushin right off the bat. Again, some really good picks coming from both sides. More of the mage side, and that's not surprising. There are a lot of strong mage players on ONIC Esports. Same Indonesia, same with the Philippines. Let's head into the battle. Game 3 in the civil war between ONIC Philippines and ONIC Indonesia.
Yeah, and the civil war itself, as Kyrie will be the Iron Man and Sans as the Captain America. Both of the Ling players, but right now, no Ling. Oh, Drion will be playing as the Gushan.
Yeah, I really like that Jay kind of left this pick on the later part of this one, because it would have been read out really easily if he picked the Jawhead earlier. So having a Jawhead, Jay plays this hero so well. And I really like that they have at least this option so they can disrupt some movements by the Hayabusa early on. Same with the Jawhead.
Oh.
There you go. Look at this. Rossi is actually absorbing a lot of damage. And Jay at level 1 is already so aggressive. Imagine what he's going to do at level 4. We'll have to wait and see. The bottom lane, he's trying to wait maybe for the reset. Yeah, I think he just wants to reset it, slow down Sasa even more, and that he's gonna do the trick. He doesn't even need to cast any skills. He just needs to be there and make a threat.
Yeah, I just wanted to zone Sasa away for the crab coin, but then we are going to see rotation for that Cho, as he wanted to man down or to guard up the bottom side. But then Sands, Jane hated, will be there, but Dreon in Sands goes in.
Oh!
A bit of the damage, but the Lar pops off the dragon form. But then again, that's a kill as Jay is going down. Sands with damage is not enough. He's going down in the hands of the Lar, but needs to run away as Hated is around the vicinity.
Beautiful absorbed by the shot essence there by D-Lar on the Yuzhong. Takes care of that Hayabusa mid-air.
Yeah,
and I think that's something you got to do against a Hayabusa.
You wanted to deny all of the killing potential from that Hayabusa, and they're successful about it. You don't really want it to go for those early kills for this guy to secure his items.
Yeah, you want to fight early on as well, while the Hayabusa does not have items. And top lane getting mashed down there by ONIC Philippines. Another big advantage. Cuts the score up to even. Counteracts the aggression that ONIC Indonesia is doing on the bottom side of the map.
Is there any chance that he can survive? But of course, the damage is there. Sans and Sasa, that Brody and Hayabusa combo can push this bottom tower.
What a quick answer there by ONIC Indonesia, getting even more gold, even while taking out that turret. Man, taking out Yakno was such a big deal for ONIC Indonesia. Not only do they get full gold from the outer turret energy shields, they also take it down completely, boosting their lead up to 800.
Yeah, I was expecting that after that kill from the top side of ONIC PH, there will be less answer from ID, but then again, once they saw that there will be no backup, they got in for the trade. And right now, Sands, with that Hayabusa being denied into the mid lane, the Lar, Black Dragon form against Butts. Is there any chance that he can survive? Rozzy and Jay will gonna meet each other around the river. And just going for a disengage.
Sasa
with the Phantom Execution. Kyrie seals the deal.
There you go.
Will
That's
be the next
Kyrie
target. And Kyrie with a good dodge with the Torn Rose. Dreon isn't going to pursue even further.
And again, Lancelot with a turtle buff is something very, very difficult to deal with. Dreon on the Gushin actually works very well. It's just that, you know, in the early game without the complete buffs, the Gushin's not as strong. Now he has to share that buff with Sans as well. I think that's a big deal.
Yes, and right now we got the Calamity Reaper. Gives him a bit of more damage this early game. And Dreon is going to roam from the top side with Rozzy.
Of course,
there's a swap.
Rozzy. Yeah, they're trying to see if they can get more economy, right? Because the top lane turret is something that they really need to take down soon. Jay, though, unstoppable force, then flickers back. A lot of utility wasted by the Jawhead.
Yeah, and Sans will be one of the threat that they need to watch out. But, of course, Kyrie with a Thorned Rose, expecting the shadow movements, was able to catch a bit of a damage drop to Sans.
Here comes turtle number 2 here. Kyrie, will he secure it? Rozzy wants to deny, but the retribution is enough.
Dilar moving into the backup way of the dragon. Is he going to die? But then Jay in the middle of the fight. But that Yuzong is strong enough to take Sans down. I mean, Sasa down.
Yep, and Jay just basically threatening everyone with that ejector. Great control of the team fights, and Kyrie once more, good timing. He really knows when to go in and when to back off on this Lancelot. And when you got the turtle buff and when you have the orange, you usually want to go forward.
And this is what we saw Rock Card. We've seen this kind of lineup in the hands of ONIC Indonesia, but they weren't able to capitalize on a Jawhead with a Lancelot. Right now, ONIC Philippines is showing a good perspective on wherein you can go aggressive and give all the kills or early kills to this Lancelot.
And again, Lancelot from Kyrie, a big difference from performance in Game 1. Really riding off the momentum from that last game. 2-0 so far, securing a lot of items already as well.
Boots will be going up for a small skirmish against Delar, but Jay is around the vicinity, but that's Sans is going to take down Liogno. And this turtle will be a 4 versus 5.
I really want to see Sasa come back here
on
this. Because right now he is not doing very well. Rough waves in the middle of everything. Just tries to make sure he doesn't get kicked right away with the way of the dragon. Bot lane could go down soon, and Butts, I think he has to back off.
And
Rassi with the backup.
That's a good trade from the top side. They were able to push even further, but Delar and Kyrie is there looking for the target. That's going to be the kick.
Oh, whoa!
Liogno and Sans, they're not going to pursue as Jay is the one who's chasing against Drion. Sans with his Hayabusa, more of those shadow plays, and Sans will be enough. Good damage, but Jay going for the return kill against Drion, but Sans
he's gonna go down soon.
Easy kill for this guy.
Secured as well by Sasa's Brody. No exit way for this guy. Rassi with the flicker in. Oh, Breath of the Ocean catches them though. And that will be, that's not what they planned to do right there.
Quick burst.
Quick burst. They wanted to get Hated, but Hated got them. That was a pretty slick move.
Reverse Uno card right there. And good play once again from ONIC PH as how aggressive Sans can be. Remember, Hayabusa is on a 5-2-0 roll right now, securing his Blade of Despair.
Blade of Despair, just what you want to get, especially if you're ahead. We'll see if that's going to do the opposite as well. Now, the mid lane is actually pretty... I'm surprised it's still up.
Yes.
Considering the amount of power that ONIC PH has right now. I mean, look at Kyrie. He's so scary at this point. And they're able to defend. So that's a good sign for ONIC Indonesia. That means they can still buy a lot of time for Sasa on the Brody. It kind of still closes their jungle. And when you have a jungle that's difficult to access, your hyper carry can have more time to farm.
Yeah, it was a Ruptured Machete for the Lancelot, for Kyrie. Razi goes for a Way of the Dragon, not entirely catching anyone. No free kills for this guy. But Delar is going to rotate here onto the mid lane, and as how surprised we are, side lanes are being thrown down, being pushed, but mid lane is still looking healthy as they wanted to bring the fight onto the top side.
It's really, really good for them, and at the same time, you also want to see, have a look at the control that Hated is doing on their own mid lanes, and they're just not really giving any leeway.
Oh, good shadow play. He wants to survive. More of those damage as they needed. Sans providing even more. Delar needs to fly away, but here comes Rian for the backup. Here comes Rozzy for the Jit Kendo. Puts to stop them. No escape route, but then Kyrie is really slippery. Hated onto the river side. He is being chased by Rozzy, and the flicker into the Jit Kendo isn't going to be dropped.
So small things that I really like there from ONIC PH. They could have lost a lot.
Yes.
So you saw Delar, he went straight for the knock up around the area where Kyrie was walking, and that stopped ONIC Indonesia from diving even further. But overall, ONIC Indonesia got the better of that fight. Now they will try to see if they can get more control around the mid lane.
Right now, ONIC Philippines need to take advantage of their damage with Kyrie, but then again, Indonesia is still looking good with Sans as the one who's looking for the pick-offs and securing his endless battle.
I think that's pretty good, actually. I'm surprised Sans is playing this well. And what happened is basically they sacrificed a lot of gold going to Sans in favor of Sans instead of Sasa. So Sasa's just catching up. He's just trying to do some damage on the backline, but he's not really the priority. The big thing here is the Hayabusa from Sans right now.
Yeah.
Lord walking on top lane.
Yeah,
That's a big push.
oh, rough
Oh, they take him out!
waves
Oh
picks
my
him
gosh!
off, and here comes Jay for the wild charge, but they're not going to entirely commit. They just want to pick them off, just wanted to clear the Lord in the mid lane, but ONIC ID is going to be successful in taking down the tower. Jay will be the next target. Flickers out. Here comes the Phantom execution, and Razi might be the ones being executed. That's going to be the Elder Dragon form, as they're going to take down, I mean the Black Dragon form rather, and they're going to take down that Cho.
They didn't really need the damage from D-Lord. They just need to slow down Rossi. And Rossi, he's been having a lot of free time in this game. And they said, no more, Rossi. No more Way of Dragon from you.
Yes.
Now it's going to be ONIC on the defense still. That's ONIC Indonesia trying to keep this mid lane turret alive. And the top lane, though, will be going down, at least for ONIC Philippines.
Yeah, it's a bit different right now that we are seeing like the same as how game 1 from ONIC Indonesia. Like feels like the 1-1 from Sasa is being replaced by a Brody. And Sans is still the one who's driving the ONIC Indonesia squad for those easy kills.
Again, Sans looks like he just works really well. If Sasa kind of drops, he's the one who always picks up the pace. And this is exactly what happened on that previous set as well.
Right now, Sasa needs to farm up. He needs to catch up because whenever Sans is going to be bursted down by that Kaditha, they don't have any other damager as a different Boots right now is playing. And we're not seeing the Thams from game 2.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be able to see anything like that, but Boots right now is also just really struggling. Now, Drian, I'm still wondering what kind of effect he's going to have in this one, because right now he doesn't look like he's doing as much assassinations as you thought a Gushin would. And again, that's just the sacrifice you make when you don't have the buff, right? When you don't have the purple buff, that is a big deal if you're a mage player, assassin, especially an assassin mage player like the Gushin.
Yes, and they're just looking for the pickoffs, but ONIC Philippines, they are being cautious. They don't really want it to go for those bait plays from Indonesia. They are expecting more of those movements. They're just clearing the waves and go for those easy default brush play. And they are respecting the damage from ONIC Indonesia. Just waiting for the Lord. They don't want any pick-offs. And they don't want 4 versus 5s again that we've seen.
No, absolutely not, right? And I think as long as they can avoid that, I think Sasa can actually catch up really well in terms of gold. But they don't care because right now, overall, they are ahead by 3,000. Lord is the next target here. And there's very little that ONIC PH can do. Lord goes down. And that's
Way of the Dragon.
a big fight.
Catching Jay. Dilar in the middle of the fight, but that's going to be another kill.
Sans is out.
Oh, no Sans, no Hayabusa, and Sasa being chased down by Liakto, Dilar,
my
and Kyrie
gosh.
as well. This Lancelot is popping off. Boots will be the next target. I'm offended. Everyone's offended from ONIC PH as they're going down. One by one, Indonesia isn't going to survive.
Man, that Lord was not worth it at all. 1,000 goal lead for ONIC Indonesia, but you have 3 people down. That means a lot more gold will go to the side of the Philippines.
And
ONIC PH picking a great time to fight.
And Kyrie once again popping off. He knows when to burst anyone out. Sans with a bit of a misplay. He's careless going in to that team fight.
Man, Sans is the one that you have to watch out for here. And they are doing just that. If they didn't take out Sans, that would have been a different story. But catching him, I don't even know how you do it. I want to see a replay of how they got Sans right away. So surprised that he went down first.
Yeah, I was expecting it's going to be Sasa is going to go down first. But Sans, great play from this guy.
Yeah, absolutely beautiful gameplay. And now, gonna take some more time before we get into the next matchup.
Yeah, I mean,
They're gonna take a while. They're gonna try to slow down this game.
it has been Sans who's controlling the game right now, but then again, that one misplay felt short from this guy, and you can clearly see that they got the item advantage, but ONIC Philippines catching up, and they already got the gold advantage in their own hands.
Yeah, they have pretty much everything they need at this point. Just another bonus item probably from Hated on the Kadita is probably all you need. But now they're just trying to be careful. They're trying to stick together. They're close together around this jungle area. And that's a good way to make sure that you don't get picked off one by one. You only send like just one guy, maybe either Iaknu or Dilar, to try to push the opposite wave. Other than that, you want to stick together, you want to clump up, you want to catch people off guard, and one more catch on either Sasa or Tizans could mean the big disaster play for ONIC Indo.
Yeah, and this Goshen pick from Drian isn't really effective, as it seems that we are seeing Drian play from game 1, and he fell off from game 2, and right now in game 3 is a bit irrelevant. I mean, he's not
Yeah.
really a big of a threat, and he's being captured again and again.
Yeah.
So he's being ignored completely, actually.
Yeah. Sasa really needs to catch up in this one. I think he's the missing ingredient so that ONIC Indonesia can have a good fight. And so far, he's the one he's being hunted. Oh my gosh, by hate once more.
But Jay is there. But this will be Drian.
He's out though, he's out.
The dagger is flying all around Kyrie with a torn rose.
Hated's Thalassophobia did not proc in time to save him. And that means ONIC Indonesia, I think they found a pretty good opening here.
And right now, they need those targets. Razi being thrown down. Flicker to save himself. Dilar once again flying as the Black Dragon into the back lines. But Sans and Razi being zoned out. Drian being chased. Here comes the kick. No, not yet, as he got thrown out.
Play around the
Kyrie still throwing everyone out. Dilar running low. Boots with all of the damage volt in sight, and Sans is present right now.
Oh my gosh!
Phantom Execute being dodged by Sans, and they are looking for more.
This
of
could
the
be
kills.
close.
Liokno will be going down, and ONIC Indonesia is going to take this team fight.
Again, the order was for Kyrie to go back. I mean, that could have gone either way, but they decided to not force the issue, and they will concede this Lord most likely.
The Lord in the hands of ONIC Indonesia. After all of the attempts, Kyrie will try to go in, but Drian, he's going to follow. He's going to push away anyone who's going to attempt any of those steals.
You know, normally you would see Gushans fall off really hard after the 15-minute mark, but Drian's Gushan is completely on a different story.
And we're talking about this, that he's someone irrelevant, and even Sasa, but right now he's on a 4-1 score. He's dishing out more damage, and this is another layer of damage that we wanted for the late game.
That moment, Kyrie could have fought. I mean, Iaknu caught both of them, and they were low. That's why I was wondering where Kyrie went. I guess it is the safer route. You want to go safer in this fight, especially now that everything is on the line. 2K gold lead here for ONIC Indonesia, and the siege continues.
And this will be a big problem for ONIC Philippines if they are not going to stop the tracks of ONIC Indonesia. Liakno needs to have a good setup. Hated needs to look for Drian or Sans. Quad Shadow will be popped off to safely push the mid lane. Lord will be coming inside the base, looking for more targets as Hated goes for the rough waves just for the clear. Drian throwing daggers all around. Liakno still on the works as Razi being accompanied by Lord onto the bottom side. They are still pushing really hard. ONIC Indonesia isn't going to destroy the mid lane or the bottom tower, but opens up still the top side.
And the order is to just go back and hold on Rasi on the top. Trying to see if he can keep that momentum rolling on the top lane. Keep the pressure going against ONIC Philippines.
Right now, Indonesia, they're not really capitalizing on the lore that they got. Yes, they are running low with the towers from mid lane, but they're not entirely opening it up. But Suns, with the work, goes for the quad shadow just to reach the creeps.
Yeah, this is looking really, really slow so far for ONIC Indonesia. They could force more, but they decide not to,
Yeah.
and they decide to just hold on and wait for a big error, at least for ONIC Philippines, but ONIC PH. They're saying they don't want to go out. They're waiting for the other thing. Someone's definitely gonna make an error here somewhere.
Yeah, it's a battle of less mistake. Remember, this is their tournament life. We are standing on a 1-1 right now. 1-1 score. And Rion. Okay, he just wanted to poke out Jay. He still got the immortality. Immortality also being secured by Kyrie.
Yeah, the positions of ONIC Indonesia are more for the vision. They have secured the jungle entrances. They also secured the jungle exits. So they can know when ONIC Philippines wants to make a move. And because of that, ONIC Philippines, they can't catch anyone off guard anymore.
And right now, they need to work on with the pick-offs. Either you wanted to eject someone, or is it going to be Kyrie's who's bursting out? One member of ONIC Indonesia. But right now, they're just playing the brush play 38 seconds before the next Lord. As immortality also being secured by Boots.
Yep, and items starting to get locked into place, ladies and gents. Immortalities, the potions, will start getting popped in this coming matchup. 23 minutes into the game, we might be approaching a very long and hard-fought one.
Yes, and they're just playing the brush play. Both of them just not being aggressive right now. They don't want to be careless, as the Lord and Rossi and Jay just going to look at each other. You don't want any fight right now. You just wanted to check each other's back. Who's going to take the Lord and who's going to control the game, as this is a whole stalemate trend. We got the 23 minutes into the game.
Yep.
14 and 11 into the scoreboard, and gold advantage in favor of ONIC Indonesia.
Lord number 4 here in this matchup. 23 minutes and 50 seconds. They want to see if they can take it. And getting Sasa in a good position is going to be crucial here for ONIC Indonesia. They want to be able to save Sasa for last. You want to be able to survive longest. And if they want to get ahead. And Jay is just such a threat. So let's see if that's going to be the case here.
Drian has still got the damage. Iyak knowing Jay. He's going to interrupt the Lord.
He already went for the flicker.
Oh, the ejector just to deny Drian. He's going to save himself, but right now Kyrie in the middle of the fight. The Large joins the fight as well. Quad Shadow. Shadow kill any moment right now. And the fight is 3-man knockout.
What a breath of the ocean!
They wanted to go in, but Sans and Drian is already dead. As how all ONIC Philippines are still there, battling it out, battling the Lord. Rossi's being chased down. Immortality pop-up boots, and that's going to be another kill.
Oh my gosh!
Rough wins,
The
and it
knockups!
was really rough enough for them to take and to bear, as the ONIC Philippines is the one who's going to successfully take the team fight and the Lord.
The knockups are real for ONIC Philippines. If not Rough Waves, it's always D-Lard going in and saving everybody from certain death. And slowly but surely, ONIC Philippines basically did the base defense and the team fight at the same time.
Really good play with the 3-man knock-up. After that, followed by 2-man knock-up from the at the moment when the immortality is being popped off. That was about it. ONIC Indonesia lose a lot.
They burned through so many immortalities in that last one.
It was
oh my gosh.
It was a prolonged team fight, but then again, you know that there are tanks. Sase wasn't really putting a lot of damage. Sans and Rion quickly being taken care of.
Yeah,
Right now-
Sasa is basically not just performing well. The dive in by the lore, that means inhibitor turret will go down in the mid lane. This could be the game-ending push. ONIC Philippines on defense here. Go for the invade!
Oh, ejector for Sasa. He needs to run.
Sasa's
and he
low.
might be going down. Yes, he got the immortality, but no damage coming in as Sanzi's there in the middle of the fight. Dilar again and again. The savior of ONIC Philippines. And Sasa Drian being left out in this prolonged team fight as the Lord is fighting them, axing them out,
They're low,
destroying
though.
them out. Phantom execution. ONIC Indonesia being executed
Oh!
again and again. Ejected on the backside.
He's
That's
holding
gonna be
on.
another kill. Rough wave. That's gonna be a tough waves we've seen. And there
Sasa's
comes
back.
Kyrie.
Sasa's back.
Thorn Rose. The Thorn into the Rose as Sasa isn't really
What was that?
relevant right now.
What
And that's
that
gonna be
was?
it.
Oh my
ONIC
God.
Philippines will move on.
ONIC Philippines! Beating the odds! Really showing up strong when it mattered the most. Wins
Oh
against
my
ONIC
goodness.
Indonesia 2-1.